Hello everyone, in today's session we are going to start from where we left on the previous lesson. So we are going to solve this quadratic equation maybe using the completing square method. So I can take my highlighter here, and then in this, if we want to solve using this completing square method, the first thing that you need to do is to add the 12 in both sides. We had 12 in both sides, so we shall have x squared then plus 4x is equals to 12 is equals to 12. And then the next thing that we can do on this, we introduce the constant c, and we know that c will always be given by b divided by 2, then squared from our previous discussion, we know that. So in this case we're going to have this one whereby we know that our b is the coefficient of x, so we shall have x squared then plus 4x then plus 4 divided by 2, then this one we square it, then we square that. This one should give us is equals to 12. Then if you take 4 divided by 2, you get 2 squared, you get a 4 like that. So we shall have that on that side being is equals to 16 is equals to 16. So this one being a perfect square, you can get the square root of x squared, which is x, and then you take this sign here, then plus, and then the square root of 4 divided by 2, which is a 2, and then you square. Because a perfect square, we said that it results to, when we factorize, we get the both or the two sides being equal, or the two values being equal. So from there we can get the square root of this and also the square root on this side, so that this square and this cancels out. And then now I shall be left out with here with the x then plus 2, then this one is equals to either a plus or a minus 4. Now for me to get the value of x, I say x is equals to if I take this 2 on the other side, it will be a minus 2 then plus or minus 4. If you take the first value of x, which will be a negative 2 plus 4, this one you're supposed to get it being positive 2, and then the other one is x. If you take x being negative 2 minus 4, you get this one is going to be a negative 6. So we can say that our value of x is equivalent to either a 2 or negative 6, is either a 2 or negative 6. That is how we solve the quadratic equation, maybe by making use of the expressions. And that method which we have used, maybe we can call it a completing square method. So we can also have another equation on the same, which we have this. So we solve this quadratic equation above by making use of the expression which was a perfect square, and this method of solving a quadratic equation is known as a completing a square. So we can use the same to solve. This is the example that we had earlier on solved, but we never completed. So today we can complete it. So the first thing that we do here, we minus 1 on both sides, so that we can have this one being x squared then plus 5x, then this one is equals to negative 1 is equals to negative 1, and then from there we can reintroduce the constant c. So we know that our c will always be given by b divided by 2, and then all these we square. So in this case we shall have this one being our x squared then plus 5x then plus 5 divided by 2 plus 5 divided by 2. This one should give us a negative 1 then added to this one is 25 divided by, remember this one is a square, 5 squared is a 25, then 2 squared is a 4. And if we subtract that, we are supposed to get this one being equivalent being to 21 divided by 4. So if you factorize this, you get the x squared. Here you get, here is x, then plus here you get this one is 5 divided by 2, and then from this we can have this being squared. So the next thing is for us to get the square root on both sides. We can get the square root on this side, and also we get the square root on this side. So in this case we shall be left with this one being x, then plus 5 divided by 2 is equals to, if we get the square root of these supposed to be maybe around 4.583 divided by 2 divided by 2, and then from there you know the square root of 4 is 2. The value of x will be equivalent to, we can take this on the other side, so it will be a negative 5 divided by 2. Then here, remember this one was a plus or minus, so this is plus or minus 4.583 divided by 2 divided by 2. So you can get this, the value of x being equivalent to negative 0.417 divided by 2, all you can have it being maybe negative 9.583 divided by 2. So therefore in this scenario, if you put it into a decimal place, we can have this, the value of x from my calculator being negative 0.2085, all we can have it being negative 4.792. So those are the two values that you can have for that. So now that we've been doing it when the case of x coefficient being 1, let us have the scenario where the x coefficient is not 1. So in this case, you can see now we solve the equation where we have this value of x not being a not being 1. So in this case, the first thing that we need to do, the first thing is maybe to minus 1 on both sides, so that when we minus 1 on both sides, we can have this one being 2x squared, then plus 4x, then is equals to negative 1, is equals to negative 1. Then the next thing that we are supposed to do here is to divide, to make the coefficient of x squared to be 1 by dividing both sides by 2 by 2 by 2. We divide all through by 2. We divide all through by 2. So that when 2 divided by 2, this one we are left here with x squared, then plus x squared. Then here also we can be left with this one with plus 2x. Then this one is equals to negative half. Negative half is equals to negative half. So the next thing is for us to reintroduce what is for us to reintroduce this one here on this side, that is to introduce the constant c, and we know c is equals to b divided by 2. Then this one we square. So in this case here I shall have x squared, then plus 2x, then this one is maybe plus 2 divided by 2, then this one squared is equals to negative half. Then negative half, remember if you divide by 2 you get 1, then you square you get 1. What you have done on this side, you also do it on the other side. So you had 1 here, you had 1 there. So now from there we can be able to factor out this. because this one, if we factorize out, this will be equivalent to x then plus 1, then this one squared is equals to this one is 0.5. Because of negative half plus 1, this one becomes a positive 1, which is that. Then from there you can get the square root of that, which is equals to plus or minus whatever the answer that we get from that scenario. So in this case here, maybe we can say that maybe the value of x will be equivalent to, if we take this one on the other side, it will be negative 1, then plus or minus the square root of 0.5. So in this case, this one, the value of x is equals to, maybe we can have it being maybe negative 1. Then here we can have this one being plus or minus 0. Maybe from my calculator 7071, like that. And then from that perspective, we can have this value. If you take it to be positive, the value of x can be either, if you take this one to be negative 1, then plus that, you get the answer being what? You get the answer being either 0.2929, or you get the value of x either being negative 1.7071. So that is how you can use the completing square method in case where we are given the coefficient of x squared not being 1. So let us complete with this so that we can drive the formula for the completing square, so that we can be able to solve using the, I think this was the second method, so we can go to the third method. And in this, the third method is called the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula. So, and remember, this one gives us the basis of what we have been doing in our first example there, so that we can be able to come up with this formula. So from this you can see that the coefficient of x squared here is not 1. So we need to make it 1. So here we shall have this one being maybe our ax squared, then plus bx. We subtract c on both sides is equals to negative c. Then from there we divide this by a. So here we are going to have x squared, then plus b all over a x is equals to negative c divided by a. So the next thing is for us to introduce the constant c here. So in this case we shall have maybe x squared, then plus b divided by a x. Then here we are going to have plus, in this case we are going to have b divided by 2a squared, like that. And then from there we can be able to say this one is equivalent to maybe, the reason why we have said it is 2a, because remember here we shall have b all over a, then divided by 2. So to remove the division sign, we multiply with the reciprocal, so this one becomes b all over 2, b all over a, then multiply by half, which gives us b all over 2a. That's the reason for that we have that. So which is equivalent to negative c divided by a, then this one plus b squared, b is squared is that, then 4a squared, that is 2a squared, we can get to that. So the next thing we can factorize out the way we have been doing. So here we shall have x then plus b divided by 2a, then this squared should give us what? should give us this value, which is b all over b squared, sorry, all over 4a squared, then minus c divided by a. So remember, in this case we can get the square root, not the square root first, but we can first of all solve this other part here. So we have x then plus b divided by 2a squared is equals to, the LCM on this side is 4a squared, the LCM on that side is 4a squared. So in this case we shall divide that. You get, if you divide 4a squared divided by 4a squared here, you get b squared, then minus, if you divide negative, that is a 4a squared divided by 4, you get this one is shall have negative 4a 4ac, negative 4ac. That is what we shall have on that side here, that is negative 4ac. So in this case now, it is ways for me to get the square root on this side and also the square root on the other side. So I shall be left here with x, then plus b divided by 2a is equals to the square root. What I cannot find is a plus or minus here, which is b squared, then minus 4ac, like that, then divide by the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of a squared is a, like that. So now I can have my x is equals to, I can take this on the other side, so I'll have negative b divided by 2a, then plus or minus the square root of b squared, then minus 4ac divided by 2a. The LCM is 2a there, so I'll have my x is equals to, here I have 2a is going to be what? The square root of that is going to be, here I'm going to have maybe negative 2a divided by that, I'll have this one being b, then plus or minus the square root of, if I divide that, I'll be left with 1, so I'll have b squared, then minus 4ac. And that is the formula that we call the quadratic formula that we are going to solve henceforth using. So in that case, let us solve one of the example. So in that case, we can solve one of the example. We know that that's our formula. So in this case, we know that here we can say that maybe, for example, what can we say? We can say that maybe our a is equals to 2, and then maybe our b is equals to negative 5, and then our c is equals to negative 3, then we can say, we know that from our earlier discussion we have said that our x will be given by something called what? Our x will be negative b, then this one is plus or minus the square root of b squared, then minus 4ac, then this one we divide by 2a, and from that we can be able to substitute them very clearly. So we will have our x equivalent to, so we shall have negative 5, which is our b, and then remember there was an earlier negative there, so we shall have negative 5, negative 5, which are negative, and the negative forms are positive, then plus or minus the square root of negative 5, still this one we square it, then minus 4, then multiply by 2, then multiply by negative 3, that way, then we divide all these by 2, multiply by 2. So remember, it is how easy it is to replace that. So in this case here we shall have this one being this one will be equivalent to what? We shall be have our x now here equivalent to positive 5, then plus negative 5 squared is 25, then minus 8, 25, then minus 8 minus 20 minus 24, which is a positive. So here we shall have plus or minus the square root of 49, like that. Then here we divide by 4. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. Then from there, the square root of 49, we know that this one is 7, so we shall have our x equivalent to plus or minus 7. Then this one we divide by 4. So therefore, maybe we can say that our x is equivalent to maybe 12 divided by 4, or maybe negative 2 divided by 4. So we can say that our x in this case is equals to 3, or maybe negative 1 out of 12. So that is how you can be able to solve using the quadratic equation. So in the next class, we are going to apply in different applications, or solving from the word problems, and also we can solve using any of the formula, that is the factorization that we have already solved, and also we have already solved using the completing square method, and also we have solved this using the quadratic formula, which we have already derived, and see how we can solve using. So the only formula that we have been left that we have not solved so far is the graphical one, and that will be in our next class. So please recommend this video to any of the Form 3 or anyone who aspires or maybe wishes to do some revision in months. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel to support it, like and share it to your friends. Thank you very much, and meet in the next class.